Hey, Caitlin. Hi.
Hi.
How are ya?
Probably put like a fun background on mine.
I'm gonna start letting some people in here. Hey, Josh. Got the waiting room set up. Hey, Anina. She can't hear yet. Hi, Anina.
I'm on mute. Hey.
Hi. Anina, I'm so sorry. I just saw your message that you were in Portland.
I was, yeah, from Thursday through yesterday.
Oh my gosh. That was so cool.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it was awesome.
Yeah, we had pretty favorable weather.
I know. I always say I bring the good weather when I travel.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Keep coming. Everyone keep bringing it up from California. That'd be great. I also just sent you approvals on the 2 FAMs, so you have those in your inbox now.
Okay, cool.
Sorry for the delay.
So I can forward that then to Michelle and Caitlin.
Yeah, I gave you a whole
Yeah, and Jess as well. So you can probably do social and digital.
We have promote at, which goes to
or
both.
promote at.
It's on the agenda to go over those email groups. So we'll make sure everyone's clear on that. Let's see. Looks like we're waiting for Zach. Hi, Kate. Hi, Elizabeth. Hey, Michelle.
Hi.
Hi, guys. Hi, Josh.
Hi.
Coming in at 3
Is it there,
a.m.
Josh?
Great to see you. Is it an early morning or a late night?
I think it'll be an early morning.
Okay.
I've got, but I'll need a nap. I think I fell asleep at like 10:30, so I got like 4 hours of sleep.
What time is it right now there?
3.
Yay.
But after next week, it'll only be 2 a.m. because of
Time change.
Oh.
Time change, yeah.
Wait, does that happen for us too? Are we already at spring forward or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
So you guys changed. South Africa doesn't observe daylight savings, so that's why.
Huh.
Oh wait. So that's why it changes for me, and it's still then it goes from 10 hours difference to 9 hours. Yeah.
And am I right, Elizabeth, that Arizona doesn't observe?
No, we absolutely gave the middle finger to daylight savings and said no, thank you. Yeah.
I wonder if we'll ever do that, like the whole country.
I hope so. It is such an, I mean, it was like, I think something that came about during the war, like it was literally like Cold War time so that you wouldn't use resources during the times that they needed it. And so it just seems really silly that they are continuing to observe it.
Yeah.
Unnecessary at this point, except maybe in Texas. Too soon. Okay.
Money.
All right, looks like we're just waiting for a couple more people. Zach and Claire. Yeah, I think.
And Jess, I don't see her either.
Oh, Jessica, yep. Hi, Carolyn.
I know she was like out of town or something, so maybe I should remind her.
Was Claire on the brainstorm meeting last week? I know I missed it, but.
Yeah, she was.
Okay.
I emailed her a little while ago, but I haven't heard from her today, so I don't know where she is.
Okay. Oh, wait just a minute. Did anyone do anything fun this weekend?
What did I do? Not this past weekend, but I did do a drive-in movie recently, which I've never done before in my life. Has anybody done that before?
Yeah, those are so
fun.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, it's just, trying to mix it up in this pandemic in LA business. So that was pretty fun.
Which one did you go to?
La La Land. It was good. Like you listen to the movie from your car radio. I don't know. I just thought it was like all kind of cool.
I did the same thing actually not this past, but the weekend before in Paramount.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I had a lot of wine in Portland this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So were you visiting friends, Anita?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my really good friend moved up there in the end of Jan, and so I
Nice.
visited her. Yeah, and she was so happy because she still gets used to, you know, all, the whole neighborhood and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
What neighborhood is she in? You know?
she lives in the Pearl District.
Okay, that's where I am.
Oh, really? Yeah, she lives like
Sort of.
right where the Chipotle is. Do you know where that
Okay,
is?
I do. I know where it is. I'm in Slabtown, so I'm on the river, but I just walk like a couple blocks and I'm in the Pearl, or a couple blocks and I'm in Northwest. So
Yeah, and that's where we had wine, Northwest Portland.
nice. Oh yeah, yeah. Did you by chance go to Fullerton Wines?
No, we went
Okay.
to a pub.
Oh, nice.
I don't actually remember what the name was, but yeah, it
Oh my
was
gosh.
fun.
Fun. There's like no shortage of places to try. Every time I leave the house, I like stumble on something new.
Yeah.
It's been really fun, like rediscovering the city, and because I lived here 9 years ago, and so I'm back, but it's changed a lot. It's very new. It's an
It's a
option.
great city. It was like,
Anyone's welcome to visit anytime. Well, I guess we're about 7 minutes in. We can go ahead and get started if y'all want.
Yeah, let's go ahead and
okay.
start.
Yeah, like I said on my message, I don't really have a detailed agenda. Nobody sent any. We had one person submit some things for the agenda, but what I'll do is just kind of go through as we've done in the past, calling on each of you one by one, just allow you time to do an update in your area of the organization. And I will take notes. So I'm actually not even going to share my screen because I'm just going to actively take notes on PowerPoint here. So it'll be so fun. You'll just be surprised and put on the spot one at a time. I'm changing up the format a little bit as well. So Josh, I would love to start with you. There were two things that I did jot down. One would be to make sure everybody understands the email contact groups that you created. And I even have the chart here that I can share as well. And then all of the online content development that you've been working on and sort of that strategy, and then anything else that you want to add. So the floor is yours for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, so I think I've just started working on different ideas. We could say it's strategic development, but really it's just things that just have like popped up as I've been looking at our platforms and what we have. And so we have a YouTube channel that we did have some content on previously. I've exported the past couple events, put them on there, tag them with the sponsors, and it's another platform that we can offer our sponsors. I think there is an opportunity as we further develop this to also increase the revenue stream for our sponsorship, because we're providing more platforms and exposure. So these videos that we're recording for the virtual events being hosted on our YouTube channel, they're then embedded on our website, promoted in our newsletters. So those that can't attend in person still see that opportunity. We do cut like the banter in the beginning and then the trivia game at the end, but you know, those are now living forever. In addition to that, I recently created a leadership YouTube channel, and this is going to be videos for how to for the organization. So as Monica develops, well, really collectively, all of us develop an operating manual. We want to simplify those, the tasks and things that we're asking of ourselves as national leadership and of chapter leadership. So it'll just should be a lot more seamless as we have some transitions through leadership of what to do, when to do it, how to do it. I'm trying to think if there's other things.
Josh, I know
Really,
this kind of falls under Jessica's role, but since she's not here, maybe you want to touch on some of the website changes that have been made recently, like the adding of like the scrolling of the sponsor logos and just some of those other.
sure, yes. First of all, as leadership, we have a. Let me see if I can. everybody see my screen?
Yes.
So one thing is, this is like one of our first YouTube videos. We've added the YouTube link at the bottom. We also have an MIT leadership page. So this, if you have suggestions on like, what do I do? Like things that you would, it says, it's still being developed. So it says MIT exclusive benefits, but it's not. It will be password protected. So it'll just be password protected, so only leadership can see it, but it'll have links, and these are little buttons. It'll be more organized, and it'll show links to like our photo library, again, to access like internal photos, communication strategy spreadsheet, everything that we're needing to know. It'll look a lot prettier later, but it should be seamless. So as leadership, we have like one-stop shop for everything, because we do have some stuff on Google and Dropbox, so everything will be linked. And then we also have this MIT leadership email login that's on there, but it will be linked within the leadership platform. The only reason is last week one of the officers were like, "Oh, where's the link? Where's the link again?" So I just threw it back on there. And then we also have under About Us, we have our mission. We've always set our mission, and now we have a brands we've worked with. And so these are, I do want to talk about, or I think there's an opportunity for us to build this out. Our website has always been very member focused, which it should be, because that's why we're doing this, is for the members. But we do need to start looking at being a larger brand, because there is support that we can provide to other brands, to other organizations through our membership. So whether it's research or speaking at conferences, and those are also opportunities that we like to extend to other leadership so they can develop their personal brands as well. So this section might turn into its own page. I'm not really sure yet, but because there is so much on the communications team, this is something that I'm kind of taking on and developing. So the rest of the communications tasks are pretty routine. And there's not more added onto that plate, because I spoke the last time that is my biggest concern, that the communications team will become overwhelmed, because that is kind of necessary for everything that we do. I think that is pretty much it on the website and things. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I'll probably just pass it on to Elizabeth to see kind of updates on the relationships that we're working on, that she's working on.
Yep, that's perfect. Elizabeth, you were actually next on my list. I know you sent a few agenda items, so I've got those here, and then anything else you want to add?
Yeah, perfect. So I'm working on our promotion of RepFest. So that's really the hottest item that I have right now due to obviously the time. It's happening in about a month and a half. So, I sent around a few emails, one to the communications team to make sure that we are scheduling out the committed posts and emails that we have with the partnership. And then the second regarding the panel and what we are going to speak about, present about, whatever that is that we decide. So I'm not sure if we want to discuss that here, or if we want to brainstorm about that at another time. I'm totally open. If email works, that's fine too. We do need to get that back to them. They do need to approve it because they are going to start to put the agenda online very soon. And they'll want to make sure that obviously we're listed, and then what we're going to be speaking about as well.
Regarding that topic, I think that there's probably going to be opportunities for other speaking engagements, as we've talked about, Elizabeth. And so I think if we can look in, again, it may not be for RepFest, that is sneaking up, but I think if we collectively as a team can come up with maybe 1 or 2 topics that we want to talk about this year. And we don't necessarily need to kind of like finalize what they are, but one of them could be, how is this another internet boom where the industry is now going to have a gap in the industry because people have left, and we're going to see this gap that we saw kind of the same time around the internet came around, and do we need to prepare differently or the same way as we had to do, because when we started this 8 or 9 years ago, that was kind of the reason, in that those that are now between like 40 and 50, there's very few people in the travel industry at that time. And so we've said that we as millennials are going to be in leadership positions a lot sooner than our predecessors, because of this gap of airlines cutting commission and the internet becoming a primary booking resource. And so is this pandemic going to be the same thing? And how do we prepare for it? So if we can collectively as a team come up with a couple of topics, we can start to have those conversations with other members and maybe develop some type of strategy for when we do get these speaking opportunities this year. And again, it may not be the springtime, but it could be, I suspect, something in the fall. And I want us as an organization to become that resource for the industry on these types of topics, having the ability to poll our members, have those conversations, and create original content around millennials in the travel industry.
And I think that's an excellent topic to throw at U.S. Travel Association for ESTO. I think that would be something that they would really enjoy hearing about. And obviously we wanted to do something similar for RepFest, but they wanted to do something more inspiring. And so more, not a general look at millennials. They want to talk about travel and how it's affected us in that sense. So like I said, it kind of resonated with them that it would be, inspiring trips during COVID and what they found when they went to cities, what it looks like, and, are some cities ghost towns like we've been hearing, or they're not? So that was kind of the direction that they were interested in. Of course, they left it up to us to come up with some ideas, but likely we would probably have, those 2 speaking topics on hand going forward. So a more serious, topic, and then the fun topic, basically, those are kind of what I think of in my head, is the 2 that we can kind of throw at people when they're looking for us to panel or present. So in order for us to really kind of kickstart that, we got to probably crank out the fun one first, and then we can develop the more serious one as we go along this year. And I can't remember, and I'll look it up again, but I don't think ESTO is until later, like August. So we have a little bit of time on that to be able to propose that to them. And I think, just cultivating what, the idea behind it and pitching it first, and then we can obviously get polling and get all of the details later. But I certainly would love to pitch that to US Travel in advance. But like I said, having said that, it's RepFest that we need to kind of get together. So really, ultimately, I need to decide on the day and time, and also who will either present or be a panel that was one of the founding directors. So we probably need to just confirm that, if those are the easiest things to confirm. And then we can work on, who's going to be on the panel, or if we're going to present something specific.
Cool. I also had another topic that I wanted to address. So last week I started looking into new platforms for the organization for members to communicate with each other. And so there's 2 companies that I've reached out to get their demos. I've gotten some questions answered. The one, super exciting, actually allows for kind of a white labeling app in which members can communicate with each other outside of like anything that we do, which is super exciting. They're no longer these $30,000 programs that you need to commit to. They're monthly subscriptions. They're a little higher in cost, but it's something that I every so often I'll search and see what type of platforms there are, and none of them really worked for us. We want our members to, if they're going to New York City and they want to talk to other millennials and travel members, or set up a little like happy hour thing, that's what we want. And so super excited, super early stages of the conversations, but it seems like there are some new platforms out there. So very, very exciting that hopefully soon we can have an additional platform of which members can edit their own profiles when they have job changes. It also can integrate into our CRM, and they're going to be able to communicate with each other. So,
What app is that called?
there's two that.
It sounds sweet.
Yeah.
the
The one
integration
is called. The one's called Join It, and the other is called Glue Up. I don't know why they're both like, Glue Up and Join It are the
Doesn't
two.
Travel Massive have a similar thing? Only theirs is like all encompassing, instead of like a separate platform.
Theirs is embedded, and I talked
Yeah.
with Ian about actually I talked with their developer who's in Switzerland or something like that many years ago, about kind of like taking their technology and like white labeling it for us. But it didn't come to fruition. It also was like stupidly costly. It wasn't like crazy like these other apps that I was looking at were like $30,000. But this one was still like, I don't know. And plus I don't want to say like having access to our data, like they're by no means a competitive organization, but at the same point, there's that opportunity for that. So this seems, the ones like specific for organizations, but it just depends on the technology of like right now, the one says the ability to, let me read it. The ability to filter, they said that it unfortunately was only, you could only search by email address, name, and country. I'm like, well, are you going to be building out a technology for, by city or something? Because, most of our membership is in the US, but that's also a new it's in beta for them as well, just the filtering aspect. So, and that's a new development they've had. So I know they're going to be building it out. It's just going to come down to cost right now. We may have to delay this, but just knowing that there's that opportunity and that integration to our own CRM where people can update their own profiles will like change who we are as an organization. And if there's an app behind it, of which, they can do all of this, like even better.
I like that. And then it can really engage people too. Like I joined a mountaineering club out here and they have like create a profile, earn a badge for like, I don't know, if it makes you really feel special when you're in an app.
Yeah.
It's like taking the concept of the community that we want to create, with our in-person events and things and putting it on a digital platform. That's really great, Josh. Thanks for that update. Going back to Elizabeth, so for the Rep Fest, I know that you emailed us, so I'm fine to review that email. I did participate in Rep Fest last year, and I think it's a great event, and so I understand that the organizers are looking for like a positive, inspiring message. So I think we can come up with, like you said, two kind of general areas of focus for any speaking opportunities that we have. And then we, as Josh said, once we have that laid out, we can survey our membership. And then remember, you can also always just, do a quick survey if you need maybe just some general feedback and want to check the pulse of the organization across the country. You can always just reach out to the officers and us managers and directors as well with any kind of questions or to get the ideas flowing. And then did you want to talk about the other items on your list, Elizabeth?
Yeah, I wondered if we had previously worked with ASTA at any capacity. That was one of the ones that
I don't think so,
hadn't
Josh.
heard.
Not that I can think
No,
of.
not, we've locally in Los Angeles, we did an event a long time ago. So, because we ended up having an event on the same day and they were nervous they weren't going to have any young people. So they asked to merge. It turned into honestly, in my opinion, a really, really bad event because we had sourced the location and everything as a complimentary food, and you could see a clear divide because of their membership being extremely old, that it was like millennials that were standing up, super engaged and like talking with each other. And then like the people that came on their behalf were like just eating the food at the tables by themselves. And you're like, okay, so we haven't really done a whole lot with them, and I don't think we've done anything with them nationally, just like a couple things like on a chapter basis.
Yeah, they're also another one that's leading in terms of advocacy, the push through for PPP and, so the recovery of obviously the travel industry. They've got a pretty large voice. And so, that was really kind of what the interest was. So I can certainly, if we're interested in going down that avenue, just as a possibility for advocacy, I could certainly, test the waters and see what they have to say on that part of it.
Yeah.
Who is pushing for that hotel? I saw that you had sent that link.
AHLA, so American Hotel Lodging Association.
Okay, and is that you already have a relationship with them because of Belmond?
No, it actually came through. We have a advocacy worker through Prost, and he was actually the one that flagged it for me, and so I just shared it with you guys. But no, I don't because Belmont is, we have 2 hotels in the U.S., so we don't really we have 0, there's no relationship there. So that certainly could be another one that if we were interested, we could certainly reach out to them as well.
I think it was a great initiative, and even at a membership level of like, these are exactly the type of things that we want to support, each other in our industry, to rally the troops. Like we can do that. And I think as we continue to kind of promote these types of initiatives nationally, we'll become more recognized then also for doing the same. And it'll just kind of like, it should segue into more advocacy for the organization.
Yeah, I agree. This one was special because it was obviously it ended, the very last day of February in a sense. So it wasn't anything we could, formally go to the membership with. But there are other initiatives that are out there that I'll make sure that we're including for next month's newsletter, because there are some things that are timely that are still going on that they're still pushing for, and multiple organizations have different needs. They also, just looking at ASTA and hotel lodging, they have specific national advocacy, and then they have specific to the state. And so, certainly we would be looking at the national advocacy opportunities that we could push out to members. So I'll keep watching that and, certainly share on the newsletters.
Cool. Monica, do you remember who, or Caitlin, when we sent Evan up to San Francisco to speak at a conference or like an event, who was that with?
That's at Carriage House, Caitlin.
Carriage Trade Association.
Yeah, Carriage House.
Okay.
Which is like San Francisco's version of Prost.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they still exist from what I understand. Yes. And they're
I'm a member still. They still do it. It's just all virtual right now. Yeah. And I don't even think they're doing like special speakers and stuff like they used to with it being virtual.
Yeah.
Although they might, I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, so I'll keep watching ASTA and see if there's an opportunity there for us to continue to promote. And then the last thing that I had was consortias, and basically where we stand with Virtuoso, Signature Ensemble, Internova, You know, obviously previously we were a part of speaking engagements for them as well, as I understand. And if I remember correctly, there were events that were, you know, done at Signatures Annual and Virtuoso Week and all of that. So just wanted to see like, where does that stand in terms of relationship? And is that something that we're wanting to continue to cultivate as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I not that it dropped off on purpose, but I think it was more centered around the events. So it at both with both Signature and Virtuoso, we would have events we used to have events piggybacking off of their events. So when they were having, you know, their event in Vegas every year, we would have our Las Vegas chapter host an event around, like on that event to capitalize on the fact that all of these people came into town. And then that turned into, oh, well, let's just do something more formally with the organizations. And they, at the same time, were then launching their own like young people group. And so it was kind of like in conjunction with them. And we have great, I mean, we have great relationships with both. There was never anything wrong that has happened. It was just that it was very event focused. And since those events didn't really happen, or I guess because they're virtual, I'd love to start those conversations again. We, as an organization, had really formed, the membership was really derived from these higher end consortia. And at one point there was questions on whether or not somebody who's not affiliated with a Signature or Virtuoso, is there value for them to be a part of Millennials in Travel? And it saddened me because I by no means want to be restrictive based off of type of product. Specifically, it was like, I want to say it was like a Best Western or something in San Diego. And they were like, that, you know, yes, of course, like we want that to be the resource for them to network and maybe move from a Best Western to, you know, Coronado or another property that, so we're no means are we like only Virtuoso or Signature. We are for the industry itself. And yeah, you could be, you know, with a, you know, I don't even know if like, you know, I don't know motels, but I mean, like if there was like a motel, I doubt, I mean, I don't even know if they have sales directors, but Red Roof Inn, sure, Red Roof Inn. You know, if they wanted to be a part of the organization, like, yes, like that's why we're here. We're not a hoity-toity. That is how we started because all of us were a part of Virtuoso and whatnot, but those other non-luxury brands or consortia, we want to support the people within those sectors.
Yeah, I think what he's trying to just kind of allude to is like, we don't want to align, you know, with one consortia, but we'd love to work with all of them, and we're open to anyone, you know, to be a member of MIT and to engage with MIT regardless of where they fall in with the consortias. But I know I'd love to continue doing things with Virtuoso, Signature, Internova, Ensemble. It'd be great. I know they have virtual events coming up. Signature announced that they hope to still have their event in Vegas later this year. But anything that we can do to get involved. I had someone contact me even recently to say that they learned about MIT through Signature, which I thought was amazing. So definitely anything we can do to strengthen those bonds would be great.
Right. I think that the newsworthy bit to maybe get back into being something fresh for Virtuoso, because of course they're looking for fresh, as you know, Josh, from being on that side, would be to talk about our Gen Z board, our advisory board. That would certainly be a very catchy thing to go to them to talk about. So I know we don't want to put the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse, the other way around. So yeah, so I don't want to you know, throw that out there and say, yep, we have a Gen Z advisory board. Let's present at Travel Week virtually, or, you know, ask for us to be there in person, because we know that it's hybrid this year, without us actually having that in place. But I think that that would be, there's really obviously the story, going back to Signature, even talking with Ensemble and Internova, the story is still there that we're, the upcoming leaders of the industry. But since Virtuoso is kind of we've been there and done that, we needed something newer. That's the only thing that jumps out at my mind at this point, because they're probably not going to just bite on, oh, well, we've ramped up our leadership team. I don't think there's not enough meat there for them to jump on that. So if we think that we can, somehow come up with that and then in a very short time, then certainly I think we should approach them. I'm certainly happy to have the initial conversation with them to say hey, we're still here if you need. But I think maybe even next year's meetings or even later this year when they're doing, ownership meetings or anything like that, that can be one that we propose to them.
Yeah.
But certainly I'll
I
start
think
talking it up.
Possibly this year we could still get away with, we seem to be a more relevant generation in wanting to travel. Like I just read, I think it was Travel and Leisure, don't quote me on this percentage, but I want to say it was 38 or 40%, maybe even higher, would give up sex to travel, right?
I read that too.
Oh, I heard that today. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then
give up their
there's-
savings, give up their job. It was intense.
And I think, millennials, we've always been,
So funny.
as an organization, confused on who we represent. Oftentimes these speaking opportunities are on behalf of millennials as consumers, not as millennials within the trade space. So we have not run away from it. We take that on and we say, yes, we are consumers ourselves. How many people, have relocated or just on this call right now, during the pandemic, there's another article that came out that I read, and it said basically moving abroad is basically the new vacation option during a pandemic, which is exactly what I did. I couldn't take it anymore, and so decided to relocate. And does that mean I have to have 3 a.m. calls, once a week? Yeah, it does. But I'm completely willing to do that because the beaches were packed this weekend, but everyone wears a mask, and life is pretty much normal other than 11 to 4 when there's a curfew. And the rates in South Africa are very minimal. They're on par with Pennsylvania, or they were when I moved here. I think they probably dropped since then. So there might be, I'm not saying that we can't activate a Gen Z board. We just have to make sure that they're the right people, because they're then going to be an extension of us. And because of their lack of tenure in the industry, it just makes me a little weary. And so I think maybe the first step would be to maybe poll our members through social media. And if Anina, if you had somebody, I'm sure there's probably somebody from Gen Z that's a part of your company. If we can pull people that have been validated, within their professional roles, that they can represent us in some way, then I think we can totally probably do it.
What year is Gen Z?
They're pretty much going to be 23 and under.
Yeah, not
And
within
I
DA,
know-
for sure not. I don't know if anybody survived the round of furloughs and layoffs, right? Because that's
Yeah.
really young, I would say, 23 and under.
Yeah. That's the reality. And maybe,
Yeah, 24.
maybe that's
Wait,
part of the
what
What
conversation.
year is it? What year is the?
Born 1997, and then it says between 1997 and 2012/15. So
Jeez, that's young.
I don't know if it's 2012 or 2015, but and it says they're currently between the ages of 6 and 24.
So 97 would be.
Yeah.
And maybe that's actually part of, maybe it's a hybrid or something this year, in that, because of the pandemic, and that's kind of what it was for us as millennials was, a challenging start to the industry, or very little people in the industry when we started because of the internet, airlines cutting commissions, not being supported, or people seeing it as a viable career option. That this same thing could happen to Gen Z, where there's this, you know, gap, and those that are like younger millennials and those that are like older Gen Z, like they're just not in travel. And, you know, depending on how the recovery is, there may be a 6-year, 7-year difference in the industry where like there's nobody that from that age bracket in the industry.
I mean, here's a question. Do we feel that like a 27-year-old in the industry, is that 26, 20, right? Do they feel we do enough for them with millennials in travel? Because maybe we could call it young millennials and Gen Zs, because then you capture a little bit bigger group of people, right? Because I most certainly have some, even in my team, that are like that age, and they're still pretty new in the industry, right? So maybe their questions are different than what we would have. And yeah,
I think it's going to come down to like, I agree with Elizabeth in that Virtuoso, they need some buzzwords, and they need super fresh, like Misty Bells, who's like on their PR, or like runs their PR, like she needs to capitalize on these buzzwords. And it's that's just the reality, I think, for Virtuoso. Now a Signature probably might be a little bit more open to like newer people, or like concepts that don't need to be so flashy.
Yeah, I
mean,
feel
that's-
like, I mean, Elizabeth, you all are part of Signature, right? So like you've been to the events, Caitlin, you've been, but I feel like even the average advisor within Signature skews older as well. So they would maybe potentially still be interested in, I guess, some of our old content versus, you know, having something kind of new and newsworthy to share.
Well, I think we're looking at it differently in the sense of like Signature would be actually really okay with excellent content.
Yeah.
Right. And so they definitely want to just hear the opinions, you know,
Right.
again, versus the flash and the buzzwords.
Yeah,
and
like the opinions of
all of
people
that.
in
So,
the
yeah.
millennial age.
So they actually,
group will benefit.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So they want to hear the content. So they're there to actually learn and pick something up. So that's that I think is the biggest difference there. And then, you know, Ensemble is on its very last leg in the sense of, you know, how many people are still working there. And Internova is a massive
Yeah.
gorilla in the room. And so I think there's endless possibilities there. I just don't honestly know what they are. I'm navigating it for the first time myself. And so, yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the recent press release that Classic was just sold.
Yeah, I saw it today.
Which is bonkers. I had no idea about this company, and they're literally like down the street from me.
Oh, wow.
He owns the Suns.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, like I'm like, okay, well apparently
it sounds like it's just investment backing, and hopefully their like operations and their company won't change much. But Caitlin
I'm actually excited because they're not affiliated with Expedia, because they use that over us constantly. And so I'm actually very excited for them to disconnect from Expedia.
Oh, that'll be good.
Yeah.
You know, Caitlin, does Virtuoso still have the, I'm sorry, I forgot what it was called now, the
Millennial Mindset. I haven't seen any communication on it in like over a year. So as far as
they launched it at Travel Week. They launched it at Travel Week in 2018. And then I know you all went on a retreat like later that year.
Yeah, we went in January over a year ago, and I haven't seen anything on it since.
Okay.
And who was originally leading that?
Running that was Vanessa Sawtelle-Jones and Zach Dykewald. He's kind of like the young China specialist that Virtuoso brought on. So it was the two of them leading it.
It's not surprising. I mean, there's a lot of initiatives that were like just try to get out there, and it just like fizzles away.
Elizabeth, it might be worthwhile to, and Caitlin can help, or to reach out. You probably know Vanessa, and Vanessa was actually one of the original founders of Millennials in Travel. So I know she'd probably be happy to kind of give an update on where that organization stands and maybe
Yeah,
we'll-
she'll probably know. I imagine it's just on a pause until things pick back up again, but
Yeah, I
she
mean,
should know.
considering that they have literally like one person working in operations at this point, like I'm sure that's the
Yeah.
last thing that they're considering, you know.
Yeah,
But if we need to help them fill time in terms of their, you know, upcoming hybrid, and we can be a part of that, I think that that's really the messaging that I'm going to go with, which is, you know, if you need to fill content for this,
Caitlin, do not yawn.
I know. I'm such a grandma. I'm sorry. I know. It's like goddamn tea. I shouldn't
You're
have
gonna
made tea
make me.
so
You're gonna
early.
make me yawn and like pass out right now.
Sorry.
Okay,
that was it on my side. Thank you.
One
okay,
thing
thank
that I
you.
want, sorry, one thing that I want to throw out really quick, and I don't know if we could make something out of it or not, but I find it really really fascinating. So I'm going to share it. So my friend started with a company called Trova Trip, which is in Portland. And they're a startup that they connect pretty much influencers with, well, they create the package that the influencer will sell in the end to their followers. And it's exploding, right? So they put a
What's
trip,
it called? Sorry, what's it called?
Trova Trip,
Trova?
Trova, Trova Trip. And so they work only with DMCs, right? So they don't really contract any pieces themselves. They put it on their website. An influencer can choose a trip and then sell it to their followers. And they sell out trips
see.
within minutes, right? For 2022 and onwards. And my friend just told me that they're so busy. And I think that companies like that, obviously very different new concept, but I think they could be relevant to us as well, because they're obviously very much geared towards millennials and younger people. And they're like around 14 people on the trips, depending, and it's literally across the world, right? They have a lot of trips in Bali and Asia, but they're also starting to do Europe and Canada and all kinds of places. So very interesting concept, I think.
I saw 2 of those from different like rock climbers that I follow, and one's going to the Himalayas and another's going to New Zealand. And I was so close to getting it. I think, yeah, it's Trova Trip. That's definitely springing into action.
Oh, they are popping, yeah, and they have a lot of good funding, so they will survive this, right? Because they have financial backup.
That's interesting. I was actually doing some consulting with this company, and it started with millennials in travel. It was called DIP, and it was we did a focus group with a couple of millennials in travel members like 3-4 years ago. They were based in New York, to partner. It was similar to this, but it was also also matching travel advisors to consumers through the influencer content creation space. And it was then it evolved into a little bit of like a Tinder for travel advisors, matching them with the appropriate or the clients matching them with the appropriate travel advisors, and creating these bucket lists and pulling content from different influencers that a travel advisor could see and kind of like say, hey, you know, I've been there, like let's work together. And I'm loving all of these new innovative things. I actually had a meeting this morning with the former deputy director for the Israel Tourism Board in LA. She's now back in Israel working with this company called Bridgeify, which is still learning about it. We have another call next week, but seeing like how millennials in travel can participate. And she's working with other DMOs and tourism boards. But I think any of these, for all of us, any of these companies that are innovative and are doing new things, like let's have a conversation about it and see how we can either help them either through, potential revenue stream for either exposure or, maybe there is a way that, millennials in travel can create these as an organization. Like we can have a platform that has these really cool trips that, we can promote at a consumer level. Because again, we have a consumer following that I didn't really expect us to have, but our fan pages, probably half people just see a millennial in travel and they're like, oh, I'm a millennial, likes to travel. So there is there is an opportunity for us to maybe to work with like a Trovo Trip or other organizations and companies and look at maybe diversification of a revenue stream as well.
Perfect. I can certainly reach out. Anina, we can certainly talk about your friend who's, involved in them, and, I can certainly have that
Make
conversation.
an introduction. It's a
Yeah.
cool concept. I
Yeah,
was
for sure.
looking at the
Yeah.
website. This one trip caught my eye because it was Peru with Valerie Wilson, but it's a different Valerie Wilson. So
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it is fascinating to me,
goodness.
right? Like how these influencers have such loyal people that and these
Yeah.
trips are not cheap at all either. And it's just blowing my mind how many trips they have. Like my friend, she's the VP of Trip Experience, so she's really on the executive team and stuff. So she shares quite a bit with me, right? I'm like, this is amazing. Like, that's cool. So I definitely can make an introduction, see if there is anything. The one thing I have to say is the founders are not travel people. So
yeah.
we would have to kind of show them like what their benefit would be, right? Because they will look at it, who are you kind of, right? They have no idea.
We also have to make sure that we don't jeopardize our membership and their
Correct.
goals. And so
Yeah.
if it's cutting out, and again, that's what I was trying to get out of the conversation this morning with Anat, was how is, you have to be careful of relationships. And
Mhm.
if we start, working with some type of company that is cutting out the travel advisor,
Right. It could be a conflict of interest for sure.
yeah, it's not supporting our goals as an organization. So that's the only thing we just need to be cognizant of.
And I think one thing though, what I think they are exploring is how they could have another revenue stream of connecting with travel companies actually. And I think that might be more interesting to us, because maybe it is interesting to them to have travel advisor connections, right? Because they obviously want to build their company. So I think maybe it's worth to just have a conversation and just see where their mind is, right? And then go from there. But definitely an
or like, I mean, our own travels, we've experienced some really cool things, and maybe there's some ideas that they don't even like. Do they know that you could even, have dinner on the Great Wall of China? Like, how would you there's a lot, I think that our travel advisor community could support them in just even ideas of what's possible out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool. Okay, so we've gotten a little off track here, but Zach was going to be next. Josh, I don't know if you want to share anything on his behalf. I know that we had talked about potentially adding a philanthropic activity to our FAMs, and we'll get to FAMs in a little bit, but we did just kind of review and confirm that April and May FAMs. And
I think, we Zach and I touched base after the last call. I think again, it is a proactive role within the organization, and personal commitments sometimes take precedent. So there hasn't been much movement. I would say that if we have specific needs and the attachment of a philanthropic opportunity within the FAMs is great. So if those are have been set, I think we can now move forward, and Zach can kind of focus on that aspect and have something finite to work with.
I think what would be cool, and anyone else chime in with your ideas, is yes, we could do like one small activity that's maybe even just a couple hours on each FAM itinerary. So Anina, maybe you want to connect with Zach and say, we're going to be in Nashville on these dates, Dallas on these dates, especially Nashville. I think that ties in with Earth Day. Maybe we want to do something surrounding that, and having just read through the itinerary, there's a little bit of free time.
I actually
nothing big, nothing huge, but it's something small. Could be fun.
I did actually reached out to him, and he had said, yes, let's connect. And then that never happened.
Now that you have the green light on the FAMs, maybe try again and say that we're going to start.
Okay.
And then my other idea, Josh, that we had talked about was, doing something as nationally as an organization where I can do some, like, it's all maybe tied to one theme, but Caitlin's doing something in LA, you're doing something in Cape Town, I'm doing something in Portland, but it's all kind of centered around the same theme. And we kind of try to encourage like a national philanthropy focus, maybe like one per quarter.
International.
International, worldwide philanthropy focus. And it's like one theme per quarter, you know? So like,
Maybe we can come up with like a hashtag for it so that if you post about it,
yeah,
you know, we can
those were like my two
link it
ideas.
together.
And talk to Zach about those and see if he could maybe put together a plan.
Mhm.
Yes, okay, I'll put here that you're gonna do that. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. And then of course, once chapters are more active, you know, that's something that Carolyn and I can discuss with the individual chapters too about them. But I think focusing, you know, broad international scale with like one theme, underlining philanthropy theme each quarter could be fun. Kind of bring, again, a way to bring us all together. Okay. Kate, over to you for membership.
So I finished deduping like hundreds of people, I think, on Zoho. Mani, Josh, and Caitlin, I'd emailed you guys because I think you're the only ones who also have access to Zoho right now. I don't know if you want to expand that to the rest of the managers because there are still quite a few people, maybe like 60 or 70 that I was just unsure of if they were duplicate contacts or different people. And I know a lot of people know, you know, someone's friends with someone and you know more than I can. I went on LinkedIn's and Facebook's, but I couldn't kind of get all the information. So that would just kind of be the next step in like fully deduping. One thing I did notice though, which is pretty annoying, is from our recent kind of events we've had, if someone has in Zoho, like their email, which is their professional email, and then their personal email, if they signed up with their personal email, Zoho has been creating a new contact, which literally defeats the purpose of what I'm doing. But Josh, I wanted to maybe sidebar this another time with you to see if that's even worth it going to Zoho, since I know going forward, the email me form is not our long-term plan that you've been using.
I mean, I'm glad that at least there's the connection of new contact, you know, integrating. You know, I think what we determined is that there's only 2 fields that can have the cross-reference, and that was, correct me if I'm wrong, an email address and a phone number.
Yes, and since 95% of our people don't have phone numbers, it's
correct. But we can, we need to, on Eventbrite, add the phone number field option as a mandatory thing.
Yeah. To
just first and foremost try to, I'm gonna put that now. We are gonna have to do some spring cleaning. I think I put that in some email recently. I think what we need to do is we need to take March or maybe April. Once we have all of the connections done, is, hey, we're doing spring cleaning, we have a new CRM, like give us your updated information through the new form, that being Zoho Forms, collecting their data, including the phone number, and making sure that, you know, then we'll probably have to dedupe again after that or merge. But I think that's the only way is we're gonna have to make a proactive effort where like once a week we're pushing social media, we have a dedicated email of saying, hey, you know, in order for us to be better as an organization, and maybe we take this opportunity as well, you know, we want to be better as an organization. This is what we've been working on the back end. You know, we need your help in getting updated information from you. And this is also the time that we ask them, you know, what are the things that you'd like to see from us as an organization to help you? And if we, you know, maybe that's Caitlin and Michelle and you know, Jess isn't on it, but maybe that's what we focus on for, you know, a 30-day period or something is, you know, this simplification of all the data that we have for people.
Yeah, that's what I got. And then the other thing, I know Claire's not on right now, but she literally just emailed me maybe 20 minutes ago with what I had tasked her with is compiling a list of kind of certification courses and things like that. A lot of the stuff that she had done herself and was interested in and trying to get a job since she had been furloughed. Just things like that that we can do, job trainings, all of that. So I have to go through that and then I'll share it with you guys and we can take the next steps of maybe putting it under professional development on the website.
Okay.
Monica,
Um,
I'm so sorry, guys. I do have to go with the kiddos. Thank you so
Okay.
much. And if there's anything further, just let me know and email me.
Will do. Thanks.
Thanks.
We'll have
Thank
the
you.
recording too. So,
Thanks.
okay. Thanks. Okay. Anything else from you, Kate, or that's it? Okay. Caitlin, for communications, and then of course, sorry without anything from Michelle, and if you want to share anything on behalf of Jessica. I did jot down something, just, thinking big picture, because we run into this often where we're trying to send out multiple communications within 1 week and we need to time that out. So I thought one thing that we should definitely talk about is just a communications calendar in terms of the dates. And, that's something that we'll all have to work on, because we're all working on different initiatives, whether it's an invitation for a FAM, invitation for an event, newsletter, whatever those communications are, just like a good strategy to schedule those better. So it's about 1 per week.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's all you. Go ahead.
Yeah, to expand on that, well, we know when the newsletter is going out, that's like a static thing that's in the calendar and everybody should have access to when the newsletter is going out. But in order to kind of build around that, I was thinking maybe this is when Asana comes into the picture. Michelle came to the table with that and has been using that for our social media calendar. And we had said maybe this would work for us when we get there, and maybe this is it. Maybe, whenever Michelle and we all have time, maybe she can run through a quick tutorial for us and we can utilize Asana to schedule, all the things communication related, not just social media, when it comes to events or when it comes to any kind of communication going out. Maybe that's what we need to implement as a team in order to align on when to start sending things out.
I think that would be great, and I think it's definitely something we need for FAMs, because as Anita knows, and Josh and Caitlin, you've done them before too. Just the timeline for everything that has to be done with a FAM. I think we could definitely benefit from using Asana for the communications of the FAM, but also just the overall strategy of rolling out the FAM.
Yeah, totally. And in the little that I know, but you can definitely color code things, or we can color code what events versus a FAM, and have access to a calendar that we can all see. So, and I think too, it's just a perpetual issue that we've had from the beginning, but having things lined up ahead of time rather than being reactionary and having last minute stuff come across the plate, I think that would help eliminate, sporadic sending out of communication. But, I think that won't be an overnight solution, but it's just something to also kind of keep in mind, as much as we can plan ahead of time when it comes to events and FAMs, which Anina, you've been doing incredible at, then the better it will be for us to, set up the communication ahead of time and we have an idea of when it's all going to go out, so we're not bombarding people all at
I
once.
think we'll always, you kind of said it, there's always going to be reactive things.
Yeah.
That's just the reality, whether it's a last minute code for an event or something, but as much as we can be proactive. And Caitlin, last week or the other day, we kind of you and I talked about generally speaking, the third week is going to be reserved for the newsletter. The first week is going to be reserved for the upcoming event, because generally the events are the last week of the month. This month it's not that case, but if we do the first week promoting the event at the end of the month, the third week promoting the newsletter, that leaves the second and the fourth week for FAMs or other initiatives. And so if we can just keep generally that in mind, now that is going to require, we don't have necessarily control over the events or when the events are. And so that there's going to need to be some fluctuation, but I think we need to 100% reserve the third week for the newsletter. And if that means we need to push back an event or something, we can't bombard, but the membership. Consistency is key, and we're learning that in that, now that we have a monthly newsletter, it's a reflection of the brand, and we just need to be consistent and not be doing like last week there was potential for us to send 3 emails but like we didn't do any the week before and we're going to do anything this week. So we just have to be, better.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I
I'm
think in
also-
general, that timeline works really well, and for what we have planned for the FAMs, we're in line with that too, because we were gonna aim to send out the FAM invite for the April FAM for on March 9th, and then the May FAM on, what did I say, March 23rd, I think. So that's the first and third week, or second and third week, I mean.
And I'm planning.
We're
FAMs
gonna have
now,
to
so-
postpone that second one till like the 4th week of March for the May one.
Sorry, that's what I meant. The fourth, it is the fourth
Okay.
week. Sorry, it's the second and the fourth week. So, yeah. So the invite invitations the first week, the 2 FAM, the second and the fourth week, and then the newsletter the third week. That works.
And I'm lining up these FAMs now for the months after that, so we can
Yeah,
really plan
we'll
that
know.
very well
Yeah,
out.
no, you're
Yeah.
kicking
Well,
ass.
and
which is
you know,
so
like
awesome.
Josh said, if things have to be changed, that's fine. But if we have it all in Asana, we can look and if you have to make changes to what you're doing, what your team is doing, as long as it doesn't affect, anyone else, or you talk to them and if you have to swap things, but at least if we know what
Yeah.
everyone's doing, that'll be best. So, okay.
I would love to learn more about that because I would love to have a tool as well where I can just have like kind of the timelines for the FAM planning because
Yeah,
it's
I
a
think
lot
we
of
should do that.
details and
Mhm.
a lot of like,
I can
To do that.
I can basically create a new team. So there's teams within Asana, and so we
Okay.
basically have social media, and so I can create a FAM one, and then if you guys want another one,
Like operations or something, or
Or
I don't know.
events, I think,
Yeah.
where
We
there's
have an
like a
event-
timeline for event.
Sure,
Okay.
we have an events one under social media, but we can create a separate one, and then invite you. So I'll invite the email FAMs, and then I think I invited you, Monica, and Josh. But if I didn't, I'll re-invite you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think it might be beneficial for us to find a time and like do, if you don't mind, Michelle, like sharing your screen and just walking us through it.
Yes.
Yeah, I can do that because it's a lot. I think it's helpful, for me, but I keep emailing different people too because I'm confused or like I just see an email go out and then I'm like, oh, I have to post this. So it will really help, I think, everybody, so everyone can see the same thing and then we're all, on the same page. So yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Does Asana allow for remember the program like TripIt where you could like email
Or like itineraries.
you just always send it to the same email address and it actually then like on the back end does something like, does Asana offer that where you can like just email an email address and it then like puts it on the calendar?
I think I know what you mean. Like, how like for Expensify, or
Yeah.
like Concur, you like forward to
Just
receipt.
send the receipts in it.
It
Yes.
just automatically does it on the end. Do you know that, Michelle? Do you know what he's referring to?
I know what you're talking about. I don't think so. I think I always go into the platform and add it myself. So I have to look into that.
Okay.
So, Michelle, again, we've kind of digressed a little bit, but if you wouldn't mind creating the teams, create one for FAMs, and then maybe we could schedule a time for those of us that need to be on a call to do like a little tutorial, like a brief kind of intro to
Yeah.
Asana.
Or record it and do our first how-to
That's
for
fine too,
YouTube
yeah.
leadership.
I know,
Yeah,
and I
that's
know, like
another
with any project management tool, like once you get in there and just start using it, you definitely
Yes.
get
It's a lot of, you
Yeah.
have to get in and do it. And
yeah.
there's a lot of videos, which is how, my team learned in the past. We would always just watch them and they always have new ones and they
Okay.
show you constantly. But yes, I'm happy to like at least show you what it looks like. And
At least if you create the teams and get us set up with the login, I'll need access because I'll support Anina with FAMs,
Mhm.
with Josh, and then obviously Caitlin. Then my other question, is there a central calendar then? So if depending on the team, if you're adding, okay.
it's per team. So I always put like favorites, and so we can name each calendar and put it in our favorites. So then you can just go like, okay, let's go to FAMs right now, and then you see, and then you go to social media. But currently, you can't see all of them at once, if that makes sense.
Okay, see, then that's the issue, because If Anina
Yeah,
is
that's
gonna
weird.
schedule, if Anina's gonna schedule when to send out a FAM invite, and, you know, Jessica and
Can
Caitlin
you-
are working on the
Can you
newsletter.
color code within one group?
Yeah. Within yeah, I color code for social media all the time.
So maybe we need to look at just one calendar, and each color is a specific, is like one's FAM, one's.
Social media FAMs. We can do that too. We can do like a whole organization, and then FAMs can have a separate one if they want to do like a strategy.
Yeah, because if you can't
Yeah.
do a multiple overlay of groups, I think it kind of defeats the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish.
So then we
Right.
need to have just like one team that's basically like organizations, communications overall.
Yeah, I think that works with the calendar. And then, I mean, I think it would be still nice for FAMs to have I tried
No,
that
for
with
sure. That's separate.
Monday.com, right? Because I feel like it still makes sense, but then, yeah.
No, we definitely want that, but that's like a separate thing. That's gonna be
Yeah.
like to project manage like the actual development and rollout of the FAM and all the
Yeah.
steps that are involved, like all those deadlines I just sent you. That's separate, but it'd be good. We need to have like a central calendar that shows when
Yeah.
we're sending out communications.
Yeah.
So I'll create both.
Okay.
Okay,
And then if
thank you.
start with those and go from there.
And then probably with Carolyn, with events, I'm assuming we'll probably need a group for events. And Michelle, are we able to give access? I'm assuming that the free version has a limited number of users.
I believe it's 10.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe we either have to use like maybe a general email address, like an officer's @ or something that will, well, that's a 40. I don't know, we'll have to figure it out, but
I think it's
So
fine,
that
Josh,
the-
because not everyone needs to use it. Like, I don't think that Claire will need access at this point.
no, I'm just saying, like for the chapters, for like their event planning,
Yeah. So they
or
would just
like
use
the
like the
timeline.
LAX right? They would just.
Or we might, because even if we're limited to 10 though, we might need to look at like another email, like a general login, like an info @ even that, not
email-
info @ but like we'll
That-
figure it out.
That multiple
But
people. can
would
use
that be
one.
helpful? Do you think that would be helpful for the chapters or for like
Yeah,
these virtual events?
100%.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Because that's something that Carolyn and I talked about. You know, we were considering Microsoft Teams. Like, I'm not
Mhm.
married to any project management tool, so I'm totally happy to
Mhm.
use Asana. Yeah, and 10 seems
And
like
then
a
we-
lot for free, actually. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we
Um,
need to, as we work through this more, I mean, if we have to buy more, or I mean, again,
Yeah.
not right now, but once we start getting revenue in, we should be able to.
I mean, we
you know.
could just create an account with like chapters at millennialsandtravel.com, and then all the chapter
Correct.
officers could use that one for
Mhm.
managing each of their events. And then I assume, Michelle, like once you're within your team, you can have multiple projects, right? So it could be like
Yeah.
April Chicago event, May LA event, and then they can each just go in and find their project and manage it that way. Okay.
And you can assign to people. So if I want, you to look at something,
Yeah.
you can add your notes, and then that will email you. So if I like @ you,
Yeah.
so that's really useful too. It's kind of like an email, but at the same time, you kind of have to go in and you can like check off the task and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be really good for events, because there are so many people involved, especially with communications or
Yeah.
the creation, getting on the website, even post, we're taking the video and editing it and then putting it back on the website as an edited video, or on YouTube, like
Mhm.
that'll be really good.
Okay, that's awesome. Anything else for social? Sorry, Caitlin, did you have anything else general you want to share? And then I'll let Michelle chime in on social media.
Yeah, I'll just quickly, just so that everyone else is aware that Michelle had put together a really nice, how to, best practices for social media that we're still trying to finalize. And we're trying to get into the hands of the FAM host. So prior to the FAM, especially if we want them utilizing our platforms, live, while they're on the FAM, we just want to make sure that they're, on their best behavior. So we put that together and are just kind of finalizing that. And as of right now on the calendar, I have the March newsletter to be deployed on the 17th. Jess and I will probably start looking at the information probably about a week before, which is slightly earlier than usual, just because this is, Jess is still kind of new and I want her, I just want us to go through it together. So if you have like any information that you want to send us, you know, and we get within that last week, maybe just email it over to us or like give us a heads up about it. And then aside from the usual segments on the newsletter, I'm sure everybody's aware it's Women's History Month. So I think we want to do a section there. So if anybody comes across like any cool stuff about that, you know, keep an eye out and like let us know. Jess is going to do a recap of the event on the 10th plus a blog post like last time, which is going to be great. And then was there anything else? Oh, another thing that I had brought up is the LinkedIn groups. I don't even know if everybody's aware that we have LinkedIn groups on our LinkedIn, like we have our main LinkedIn page, but we also have like separate groups. And I guess it's just kind of a question to ask everybody. I've talked about it with Monty and Josh, but you know, I don't know if it makes sense to have them because it's kind of similar to the Facebook group and it kind of is just creating like, you know, double work for Michelle. You know, I don't know if it's a need. So just also something to maybe think about it, whether the LinkedIn groups, anybody's even utilizing them, you know, so I think that's pretty much it on my end.
I'll just like kind of reiterate my email back to you with, you know, we have the company page, which again is like the one-way communication for like our fan page. I think we should still have a presence on LinkedIn because of the professional aspect of who we are. Like we're not just a social group. I don't think we need allies. That was an initiative we were going to do a long time ago that Sky really wanted. And I know that Zach kind of was also a little focused on that as well, like trying to develop that, but it's just, I don't think we need it. I don't think we can focus on it or we want to at this point. I would say, you know, if the group page is being utilized, then it could be the same content as the group page on Facebook, but if people aren't using it, then like we don't need to keep. And just as a precursor, Michelle, we also used to have, every chapter used to have their own group page as well for Facebook. So it was crazy. We just had so many platforms. Those are all archived and we don't do that anymore. So, I mean, if we have a Facebook group and a LinkedIn group for members to communicate with each other, great. I don't think we need to really be, us as an organization, be putting much on it. And then if we can just control our company pages and our fan page, that probably makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, I was telling Caitlin, like, I'm happy. I don't think we need to delete it. You know, I think it should stay. The Facebook one I think is more active, definitely the group than the LinkedIn. But you know, usually you have these groups for exclusive content, you know, different than our main page. So I'm happy to keep them. And then if we have that, I try to do it like either polls or fun things on those because they are, you know, our core group and they feel maybe special that they get to have an input. So
yeah,
take them away. It was just a question.
I think we can get rid of, I mean, I would vote to get rid of allies, and because it's a completely different initiative that we were going to do that we haven't fulfilled. I mean, we had an advisory board of people that are older, and it was allies was people that are non-millennials that want to participate with us. And like, if even it just being on there, it alludes to like us being offering that. And I don't want to half-ass it. And we've half-assed it or quarter-assed it the whole, like since the beginning. So I would say to vote to just remove allies.
Yeah, I think that we definitely decided on that. Guys, I'm sorry, Anina has to leave. So Anina, and we can come back to wrap up on social media. Anina, do you want to just give us a quick update on FAMS?
Yeah, so obviously the April and May is, I'm going to send this to you guys tomorrow because I just asked the hotel about parking. And so I'm sure they get back to me tomorrow. And then I have another one that we're going to line up with Lush Experiences for Cabo for July. They asked me for 3 proposal of dates. It's a 3-night stay. So I sent you an email, Monica, so we can connect about that one.
Yep. I'll reply to that one tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have I just got a new one in for June, which would be June 14th through 18th, which would be with the Palms, 2 nights with the Palms and 2 nights with the Shore Club. on Turks and Caicos. And so that one is another one we can look at potentially. And then Elizabeth connected me with 2 other hotel groups that I have a call with, one on Wednesday, and then the other one I haven't responded yet. So that's coming up too. I don't know where the destinations are.
What hotel is it?
Sorry?
Which hotels?
So the one, she connected me with Bennett Mercado Hospitality. And so she hasn't said yet which location. She just wants to connect with me. They have hotels all over.
Is your call with Beatrice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She's a close friend, so I'll touch base with her too. And
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
they have a really great collection, so that's perfect.
Yeah.
We've
so
done ones with them before.
She said Viceroy Resorts.
Viceroy.
Viceroy. Viceroy Resorts is really interested, but I don't know which
Okay.
one. So
Okay, we've done that
yeah.
before. Okay, perfect. And so maybe we could slate that for like August, September timeframe.
correct, yeah. And then I have another one. I know that then Elizabeth also connected me with Scottsdale. So that's a potential which we could do in winter even, right? Which is a great
Yeah.
destination. So they're all a little closer and a little shorter. I think all of them obviously don't include air, so we have to see how that goes,
Mhm.
especially with the further ones, right? Like Cabo and yeah, but
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not important. I think what we need to look at is overall, is the, like, it needs to be under $1,000 overall. If they get their own, I mean, airfare to Mexico, I mean, it's gonna be, you know, even if you say like $500 round trip, like, I mean.
yeah, and they're cheap, you know, the hotel stays are for free. The only thing that we'll have to
Mhm.
pay is the COVID test in Mexico, and they put
Mhm.
that,
No,
you
that's
know,
fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. And I'll look over everything you sent for that fam. I glanced through it and it looked great. And yeah, some additional cost is totally fine. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
people can do that. If
So
they,
I will,
if
as
they
I
can't
get,
afford it, then they won't apply. It's fine. We have enough interest and people that
Yeah.
will out.
Mhm.
so as I go and get those finalized, I send that through. But yeah, that's kind of the lineup now. for the
When's
next
your
couple
call
of-
with Beatrice?
Wednesday at 4 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. That I just confirmed that literally before this meeting. So it was, yeah. All righty.
Great.
I gotta go, but
Cool.
it was nice chatting with
Thank
you
you so
guys.
much,
you.
Nina.
Okay.
Guys,
Bye.
I have to go too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. We're just about done, actually. Unless Caitlin and Michelle had anything else to add, I can, there's not much to share in terms of the chapters, other than we're relaunching Miami, which is exciting. So the rest I can put in notes in here and send it out. So.
Yeah, I'm good, unless Michelle, if you have anything.
Just really quick, I would just want to remind that International Women's Day
Yes.
is March 8th, and I did send the email, to officers. I haven't received anything yet. I sent a reminder, so hopefully, even if I get 2 photos of like the pose, which is like this, that'll be great to just show that like we're actively participating.
Yeah.
But that's about it. So if you would just
Okay.
want a reminder in that.
And you see that by the end of the day tomorrow?
I mean, I put that as the date. If it comes later, that's okay, because it's not till the 8th.
Okay. I just want, I'll do one, but
Yeah, I'm happy to
Wanna
do one
shower
too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, just like this. Yeah,
Got
if you're
it.
comfortable, then I'd love to share it.
okay. Yeah, I mean, we should all do it. That'd be awesome. Okay.
Yeah, even you, Joshi.
Even you, Josh.
Yeah, men do it
International
too.
Women's Day.
Don't worry.
All right. Carolyn, anything you want to share? You and I need to touch base. We'll touch base
yeah.
this week before the chapter call on Monday.
We do need to touch base, but the contact list, the leadership contact list is officially updated with all of the national leaders, all of the active chapters. So that's 2 thumbs up. But other than that, no real big updates from my side.
Thank you. So you might want to actually send the link to that out to everyone, just so that they know, like, if you need to reach anyone. And Josh, is that if we don't have it, let's add it, the list of what the email inbox is. It's also on that same leadership contact.
Yeah, it's a tab, and I was actually going to link to that document on the leadership page on the website.
Okay. But in the
because
interim,
it's-
until that landing page is ready, Carolyn can send it out to all officers, managers, and directors. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would be hesitant to send the actual document because it's a dynamic document. So it would be better to send
No,
the link
I
because.
said the link, the Dropbox.
Okay,
link.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw
And
you
if we
added. Go ahead.
do,
Oh, I
if
was
we
just
do
gonna
move
say.
away from, if we do move away from Dropbox is getting quite full.
Okay.
And
It
its
needs to be
impact
cleaned up. So
needs to
I
be
was
cleaned
gonna
up.
consider doing that.
So maybe Mon, you and I can work on that.
Yeah.
I've actually had to unlink some of my connection, my feed, because I'm out of like space.
Okay.
We pay for it as an organization, but it's quite full. So, but
Okay.
if we pull the photos off and you know, other things, and start utilizing Google, I think we should be
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
I was gonna say, are we migrating the Dropbox files to the Google Drive?
Google has a cap though too. I thought of that when we created the photo library and I was like, shit, I feel like this is gonna fill up our library quickly.
What are the caps? Does anybody know?
No, but I can look right now and see.
My personal one is full, so I know they have a cap.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I thought about once I created that and I was like, shit. But I figured we'd cross that bridge. Let me see.
Can we put
much is
files in
here?
Asana? Can Asana
You-
house
You
files?
can put like, you know, if I'm putting a post, I can attach a file to like the actual thing I'm doing, like in the calendar. So like if you want to see it, like, does this photo work? But you can't do, you know, like a whole file.
I don't know, like, I mean, you can buy storage and I don't know what it is. And Josh, you might know this jargon better than me, but 56.6 MB of
Kilobytes?
That's what we're
15
using probably.
of
yeah.
15
gigabytes.
but it's of 15 GB and it doesn't look like there's no, like, it's not full, or like I'm not even seeing it like that we've used a lot. So maybe we do have more space here.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, I mean, 15 gigabytes, I think is okay. I'm trying to see what we, oh, I've changed it already. I removed 7 or so gigabytes so I think we have over 15 gigabytes in our Millennials Travel Dropbox right now. Now that's all files, that's not just pictures, but I think if we have a strategy such as videos, if we can export the videos and then host them on YouTube, they're downloadable on YouTube. And if we just remove the native files in Dropbox or on Google, that'll free up some space. So we just focus on, like, you know, maybe videos, keeping on YouTube, pictures, keeping on Google, and maybe documents, keeping in on Dropbox, we should be okay.
Well,
if
I'm
we need
just
to buy
looking, and the Google thing, it's actually pretty cheap though. It's for 100 gigabytes, it's $1.99 a month.
Oh, that's fine. Well,
And
yeah,
then
we'll-
200
let's just-
gigabytes is $2.99, and then 2 TB is $9.99.
terabyte.
Everybody.
We'll let's just migrate to, because we pay I'm gonna say $11.99 a month for Dropbox.
Okay.
So let's just go ahead and start to
Migrate to Google.
migrate to Google.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grandma will work on that. I'm on it.
It's exciting.
Yeah,
I
we're
know.
gonna have to
TB
figure out
over here. GB.
But, like, I was
login.
noticing like so many of the grandma millennial here, just GM, grandma millennial.
Yeah.
I was noticing that a lot of those documents I just need to delete. Josh, like, remember I was accessing like an old password document and there was like some other stuff that's just not.
I do utilize though our MIT passwords. I forget those all the time. I use that on Dropbox all the time.
I was just accessing an old one that like was missing like our Zoom login and a bunch of
Oh
other.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone. Oh, just so that it's on the recording, so everyone knows this, and then I'll send the agenda. But of course, we have the Chicago hosted event on March 10th with in partnership with the Tin Lounge podcast. That should be pretty cool and different and innovative, unique content. And then Chicago is also hosting one with Four Seasons Hotels in April. Carolyn, we need to touch base, I think, with Allison to firm up the dates and details on that and get that going, because that's going to be very soon. And I think it's going to be with Four Seasons Bora Bora and one of the Four Seasons in Hawaii. I'm not sure which one. I can't remember. I know they've already picked it, but I can't remember offhand.
That's really awesome.
Cool.
Miami, we're trying to relaunch. I'm just trying to touch base with Noreen, but we have 2 other team members, including Callie, who transferred over from Chicago, and then a new great young woman. Her name's Hannah. She also works for a women's travel company, women's travel organization. So there's also like some great synergies between our groups and some partnership ideas. So I've already connected her with Elizabeth too. So that'll be good. Yeah, and then I had a call with Marianne last week, touch base with her. We haven't touched base in a while, but she's gonna kind of recommit to Millennials in Travel and bring the LA team back on board. And we have a couple new people that want to join the LA team, and they're gonna be really strong candidates. So I'm excited for them to join the LA team and kind of bring that back into the fold. Caitlin, one of them is Kara Foster, so I think that'll be really great.
Oh, nice.
For her to
Is
join.
she back in LA? I don't know why I thought she moved to like
Yeah.
Texas or something.
So hopefully that'll be good, and kind of, I think she's got, good relationships and reach, just like you do with like a lot of the people in LA, to help kind of maybe get them back engaged. So
Cool.
that's pretty much it for me. Yeah, that's all, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Bye.